Hello, everybody. Connor here. I just spent the last weekend at Dark Shadow's 60th anniversary held in LA. Yes, I flew from Ontario all the way to Los Angeles for a weekend to spend with the Dark Shadows community. And the whole experience was very interesting, and I wanted to record it in a video to kind of articulate my thoughts. First of all, the actors who all attended were fantastic. They were incredibly friendly. Their stories and their humor and attitude towards the show is very refreshing. They seem to embrace the show and its community. It's great to have actors that feel so approachable and so engaged with the audience and really appreciative of the people that were there. And in that vein, the sense of community at this convention was incredible. I would walk down the streets of LA and they were, rough like Toronto. And then I would enter this little safe bubble where I felt I could be myself. I felt safe to express my opinions, to be myself authentically. And within this little bubble, I felt incredibly welcomed and very comfortable. And then I would leave this bubble and go, oh my God, I have to walk back to this hotel at 11 p.m. by myself. The convention had fantastic panels. Some of my favorites were John Carlin's son Adam telling stories about John. They were hilarious and he had a great energy. He was very warm and very open to talking about his dad. That I think was a fantastic experience for a lot of the fans to kind of have this close tie to John, who passed away a few years ago, and kind of have this different perspective, because we all have a version of John Carlin, the actor. So having John Carlin as a father figure and kind of what life was like with him was very insightful. And I appreciate Adam kind of giving that and being that vulnerable and open about his dad. I also really appreciated the Dark Shadows Next Generation. It was a panelist of people my age, so I'm 27, and there were people on the panel that were younger than me, actually talking about their love of the show. And I found a lot of the sensibilities that I had about the show were reflected in the panel. We also had the creator's daughter there, and she was, again, a great speaker, and it was nice to hear, again, a child's perspective on kind of their parents' work and how the work impacted their relationships. Amazing that she was there and able to speak so freely about her dad and kind of the man he was. Going into it, I thought the convention was going to be mostly about fans interacting with the actors. But what I found really interesting, it was more fans interacting with each other. There was this great sense of decades long family, and kind of coming in for the first time, it was weird kind of feeling like an outsider but also sort of a part of it. So I was able to kind of watch from the outside all these relationships and this family that had been built for decades. Like, a lot of these people have been attending the convention since the 80s, and seeing these relationships and seeing how people know each other was a really beautiful thing. I think Sharon, the actress who played Sarah, really spoke to it. In her speech, she said, the actors don't get paid to do this. I attend these because when I have someone come up to my table who reverts back to that 12-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old child who has this sense of glee and wonder just coming back to them, makes it all worth it. And I think that's a very wonderful thing that these actors are willing to do, and that there's a space that those kids are able to come back and be excited about something and go back to a time that when the world was either simpler, or taking them back to a place where they felt safe and where they felt that everything could be all right. Overall, I thought it was very beautiful to watch. To see all these people being authentically themselves and feeling safe to be themselves and being able to express that inner child was a fantastic thing to see. On the last day, we went on a tour of Greystone, where they filmed a 1990s revival of Dark Shadows. I was sitting on the property under a tree, eating a little picnic to myself, and I just felt such a peace and a calm being in this environment. And then when we all went on the bus back from Greystone, I felt very sad to leave this safe bubble, and I was surprised by how kind of overwhelmingly sad I felt. Overall, though, I felt so incredibly grateful that I was able to go to this convention, to interact with the actors, to be a part of this community. And as long as there's new fans coming to it, the show will continue to live on. And that's kind of exciting to see what the future might be. And I'm so grateful and excited to be a part of it, even in a very small way. Thank you to everyone who I met at the convention. People, I went by myself, and people were incredibly friendly. They were happy to chat with me, and I met a lot of really interesting people. Thank you so much for being such a welcoming and open community, and it was great to see you all there. If it's the end, then I'm glad I got to be a part of it at least once. And if it's not, hopefully I'll be able to join you again for another Dark Shadows convention. Till then, farewell.